We will publish the biography of the candidate for President of the United States of America, Ron DeSantis. Part 4. In 2012, DeSantis secured a seat in the House of Representatives for Florida's 6th Congressional District. He was re-elected in 2014 and 2016. DeSantis served on the Committee on Foreign Affairs and the Committee on Oversight and Accountability, chairing the latter's subcommittee on national security, the border, and foreign affairs. During the 2016 Senate election in Florida, he ran for the seat held by Marco Rubio, who abstained from running for re-election due to his presidential campaign. Following Rubio's withdrawal and subsequent re-election campaign, DeSantis dropped out of the race. In January 2018, DeSantis filed to run for governor of Florida in the state's gubernatorial election to succeed Republican incumbent Rick Scott. Supported by then-President Donald Trump, DeSantis won the Republican primary in August and resigned from Congress in September. DeSantis and his running mate, Jeanette Nunez, were confirmed the winners, following a statewide recount that led to Democratic gubernatorial nominee Andrew Gillum conceding. DeSantis signaled his intent to run in the 2022 gubernatorial election in September 2021, launching his re-election bid in November. In a landslide victory, he defeated Democratic nominee Charlie Crist, the governor of Florida from 2007 to 2011. DeSantis's tenure as the governor of Florida has seen several major developments. The COVID-19 pandemic in Florida began in March 2020, subverting scientific consensus. DeSantis downplayed the effectiveness of face masks against COVID-19 and attempted to reopen Florida while following Trump's advice. He appointed Joseph Ladapo, a noted COVID-19 vaccine skeptic and a signee of the Great Barrington Declaration, as Florida's Surgeon General in September 2021, while fining local governments for enforcing vaccine mandates. DeSantis signed the Parental Rights in Education Act in March 2022, prohibiting public schools in Florida from discussing or having classroom instruction on sexual orientation or gender identity from kindergarten through third grade, and beginning a feud with the Walt Disney Company. In April 2023, Disney sued DeSantis. DeSantis signed a 6-week abortion ban while supporting limited government and taking a hard stance on crime. He downplayed running for president in August 2020, calling the speculation around a potential bid total garbage. By January 2021, DeSantis had been a potential candidate in the 2024 presidential election. He was invited to the Republican National Committee's January meeting in Amelia Island, despite supporting then-President Donald Trump at the time. DeSantis's response to the COVID-19 pandemic in Florida ascended him further within the Republican Party. Josh Holmes, an advisor to Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, said that DeSantis was having a moment with conservatives. In October 2022, former Florida Governor Jeb Bush praised DeSantis as a potential 2024 candidate, and in February 2023, repeated his hopes that DeSantis would run, while reserving he was praising, not endorsing DeSantis. A Conservative Political Action Conference, PAC, straw poll saw DeSantis second only to Trump, and the only other Republican to receive double-digit polling numbers in the poll. In May, DeSantis spoke to the Republican Party in Allegheny County, Pennsylvania, further fueling speculation of a potential bid, as some Democrats began seeking to mount a campaign against him. Despite various endorsements, he publicly opposed a presidential bid, saying that the discussion over his candidacy was purely manufactured in a press conference in September 2021. State straw polls suggested a strong connection with college-educated voters within the Republican Party and narrow victories against Trump. In conservative media, DeSantis was frequently featured and developed a mutual relationship. In an email obtained by the Tampa Bay Times, a Fox News producer said that he could host Fox and Friends. DeSantis forged alliances with conservative pundits, hosting political commentator Dave Rubin and Newsmax reporter Benny Johnson to the governor's mansion in January 2022. In the American Conservative and the National Review, he was lauded as a strong alternative to Trump. As the New York Post and the Wall Street Journal, owned by Rupert Murdoch's News Corp, began to appear critical of Trump for the January 6 Capitol attack, Murdoch's Fox News began shifting coverage to DeSantis and worked with his team to portray him in a positive light. The New York Times journalist Maggie Haberman's book, Confidence Man, 2022, states Murdoch was willing to throw Trump over following his loss in the 2020 presidential election. The New York Post ran the headline, "The Future," after DeSantis was re-elected, while the Wall Street Journal proclaimed it the DeSantis Florida tsunami. DeSantis' speculative campaign was targeted by conspiracy theorists, particularly followers of QAnon. In February 2023, Hungarian-American businessman George Soros expressed his hope that DeSantis would defeat Trump for the Republican nomination, although he qualified this as a hope that such an outcome would result in Trump running as a third-party candidate and splitting the Republican vote rather than a DeSantis presidency, and therefore was not an endorsement. Opponents of DeSantis later seized upon this, putting forward conspiracy theories that DeSantis was a tool of the deep state, with more than 12,000 mentions of DeSoros on social media and news sites. From January to May 2023. Former Arizona gubernatorial candidate Kari Lake falsely claimed that Soros had endorsed DeSantis, which she referred to as the kiss of death. As speculation continued, Trump mounted attacks against DeSantis, referring to him as Ron DeSanctimonious at a rally in Pennsylvania in November 2022, in advance for a presidential campaign. The New York Times reported that Trump has casually used the nickname Meatball Ron. DeSantis is Italian-American. Several days after the article was published, Trump said on Truth Social that he will never call Ron DeSanctimonious Meatball Ron, and that it is totally inappropriate. In February 2023, DeSantis released The Courage to Be Free, a memoir overviewing his political beliefs, and subsequently embarked on a book tour in the early voting states of Iowa, New Hampshire, Nevada, and South Carolina, among other states. Despite teasing a potential presidential bid, DeSantis stated that the tour was intended to advocate for his record as the governor of Florida, rather than Trump. In April, he visited Japan, South Korea, Israel, and the United Kingdom, in a move considered to improve his credentials on foreign policy. DeSantis was criticized for an apparent lackluster performance over the course of the trip. According to The Guardian, DeSantis began assembling senior staff on February 27. The Florida legislature passed an elections bill in April that removes the requirement that DeSantis must resign as the governor of Florida if he launches a presidential campaign. The bill was signed into law by DeSantis hours before he was expected to announce his candidacy. At the end of the Florida legislature session on May 12, DeSantis told reporters that he'll put up or shut up on a campaign announcement soon. A person affiliated with DeSantis's campaign told The Hill on May 19 that DeSantis would file paperwork with the Federal Election Commission the following week, and DeSantis's Twitter handle was changed from @RonDeSantisFL to @RonDeSantis on May 23. Ahead of a potential presidential bid, reports of DeSantis's aloof personality began to form. In the most notable of these instances, the Daily Beast reported in March 2023 that, during a private plane trip in March 2019 from Tallahassee to Washington, D.C., DeSantis ate a chocolate pudding dessert using 3 fingers, according to 2 sources. A former staffer told the publication that DeSantis would eat like a starving animal who has never eaten before, as part of a section about his tenuous social skills. Although he denied the incident, it quickly garnered press attention. A political action committee, PAC, aligned with Trump ran a political message in April titled Pudding Fingers and featuring claims DeSantis had made across a backdrop of a man eating pudding with 3 fingers. Speaking to NBC News, multiple Republican colleagues said that DeSantis was a loner who was often seen on his cell phone. The New York Times reported that DeSantis used bike racks to separate himself from the crowd during his visit to Iowa. A video of DeSantis laughing went viral and drew comparison to the Dean Scream, a political gaffe in Howard Dean's 2004 presidential campaign. Prior to the campaign announcement, allies of DeSantis established a political action committee known as Friends of Ron DeSantis. Although the PAC raised $86 million, its funds cannot be transferred to Ron DeSantis for president because they were raised under looser laws. On May 15, Friends of Ron DeSantis filed paperwork with the Florida Division of Elections changing its name to Empower Parents and devoted its new mission to protecting parental rights in education, in an apparent effort to distribute the funds and circumvent federal law. The watchdog group Campaign Legal Center has stated that it will file a complaint with the Federal Election Commission if the funds are transferred. Empower Parents may transfer its funds to Never Back Down, a federal super PAC that has raised $30 million. Never Back Down has run ads in key early voting states that directly target Trump, and expects to have a budget of $200 million. The PAC intends to transfer $80 million from one of DeSantis's political accounts. Although the transfer would have been prevented under state law, the Florida Department of State changed its handbook to allow such a transfer, citing Citizens United v. FEC, 2010. On May 23, 2023, a campaign insider revealed plans to the Associated Press for DeSantis to announce his candidacy on Twitter Spaces with Twitter CEO Elon Musk at 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time the following day, after meeting with donors at the Four Seasons Hotel Miami. Musk then officially announced the live conversation. Hours before the discussion took place, DeSantis officially filed with the Federal Election Commission, FEC. DeSantis tweeted a launch video minutes before the Twitter Space began. During the call, which attracted over 600,000 Twitter users, technical issues severely affected the announcement as DeSantis was unable to speak for 20 minutes. The Twitter Space was restarted, but lost a significant number of listeners. The conversation was moderated by David Sachs, a confidant of Musk's during his acquisition of Twitter and a Republican donor who praised DeSantis and gave him $50,000. Following the meeting, DeSantis appeared on Fox News Tonight and spoke to former Republican Congressman Trey Gowdy, joking about the technical issues. Protesters gathered at the Four Seasons Hotel prior to the DeSantis announcement. Although Sachs claimed that the event was the biggest room ever held on social media, BuzzFeed's Facebook Live livestream of an exploding watermelon stunt and a livestream of April, a then-pregnant giraffe at the Animal Adventure Park in Harpursville, New York, exceeded it in viewership. An estimated 3.4 million people listened to the interview or a recording of it, according to Twitter. Following the announcement, DeSantis appeared on a variety of conservative media, including Eric Erickson's Eric Erickson Show and the Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, suggesting that he would pardon Trump if convicted, as well as participants of the January 6 Capitol attack. On the Ben Shapiro Show, he pledged to repeal the First Step Act, signed by Trump in 2018 at the behest of his son-in-law Jared Kushner. These appearances have antagonized Trump. In his interview with Shapiro, DeSantis criticized Trump for his response to the COVID-19 pandemic. The technical issues experienced during the Twitter Space overshadowed DeSantis's message. President Joe Biden, who was running for re-election, tweeted "This link works," followed by a link to his own campaign donation. Trump wrote on Truth Social that DeSantis's collar was too big in his launch video. He later released a satirical video of a fake Twitter Spaces event, with figures such as George Soros, Klaus Schwab, Adolf Hitler, and the devil in attendance. Trump followed the video up with another video of a rocket labeled Ron 2024. Referencing Jeb Bush's 2016 presidential campaign logo falling over. Both videos appear to be generated by artificial intelligence. Florida Representative Matt Gaetz, a prominent Trump ally, tweeted, "Desedative." Conservative media quickly used the technical issues to lampoon DeSantis. National Review editor Philip Klein called it a disaster, as did Fox News. The Daily Mail ran the headline, "Ron's Desaster," a term that became a trending hashtag on Twitter, while Breitbart News called it a debacle for DeSantis. Conversely, conservative commentator Ben Shapiro wrote that those concerned about the optics of the Twitter Spaces glitch are unlikely to vote for DeSantis. Musk positioned the discussion as a success, pointing to media coverage of its failure. DeSantis's campaign later released a statement clarifying that the issues experienced during the Twitter Space were due to an influx of people listening to the audio discussion at once. Campaign spokesperson Dave Abrams called it internet-breaking excitement. According to the New York Times, employees had not run a stress test beforehand. The Tampa Bay Times attributed the lack of a response from late-night talk show hosts, such as Stephen Colbert and John Oliver, to the 2023 Writers Guild of America strike. On May 30, DeSantis held his first in-person event at Eternity Church in Clive, Iowa, in a decision considered by the Associated Press to strengthen his connection with evangelical Christian voters. He subsequently appeared in other cities across Iowa, including Sioux City, Council Bluffs, Pella, and concluding his visit in Cedar Rapids. In a Fox and Friends interview, DeSantis called Iowa very important and drew parallels to the 6-week abortion ban he signed into law with Iowa's. The event is part of a tri-state tour Build the Great American Comeback Tour, in which he will visit 12 cities in the United States, including those in the key early voting states of New Hampshire and South Carolina. During his visit to New Hampshire, DeSantis sparred with an Associated Press reporter in Laconia, asking him, "Are you blind?" The incident attracted media attention. Never Back Down framed it as an instance of him shutting down fake news. In Manchester, DeSantis was met by reproductive rights protesters. On June 7, DeSantis visited the Mexico-United States border in Arizona, meeting Cochise County Sheriff Mark Daniels. Simultaneously, he began a $100 million door-knocking effort. The DeSantis campaign has established a boot camp, referred to by allies as Fort Benning, to encourage canvassing efforts. DeSantis fielded questions at a town hall event in New Hampshire on June 27. I stop at this point today. We continue to narrate a stage in the life of the candidate for Ron DeSantis. Soon we will publish Part 5. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and keep exploring the world's incredible stories. Thank you for watching.